Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight, I'm taking a look at the Hasbro 12-inch Marvel Legends series Deadpool. And as always, my review space is not made for the larger figures. I guess I specifically designed it for 6-inch figures. It fits right. I can get in there, I can get around the camera, I can touch everything, I can put everything in frame. You go any bigger than that, and it pretty much goes to hell. And I wasn't expecting to review this. I didn't buy any of the others, the Captain America, the Spider-Man, the Iron Man, but this is Deadpool. I had to pick it up. And when I started seeing reports that it was showing up at Toys R Us's, I thought, yeah, I've got a while, month or two, before it comes and hits my Toys R Us. So with that in mind, of course it showed up at my Toys R Us. I mean, that's just how the toy gods work. They're gonna smite you, they're gonna tease you, they're gonna pull things away from your grasp, and then hand them to you at a later date when it's more inconvenient, when you have less money, less time, that sort of thing. But looking at the package, it's hot outside. It was hot in my truck, so it's kind of fogging up, I guess, now that I'm in the air conditioner. Big window on the front, shows everything in the package. You guys know I like that. I like knowing what I'm getting before I buy it. No hidden surprises behind the packaging, whatever. Black packaging, it's got kind of a foil look to it that kind of throws your eye off. You're looking at it, you're expecting the usual standard pictures, and it kind of messes with your eyes. There's kind of a prism look to it. It freaks me out, kind of, really. But on the side here, you get another picture of Deadpool in that foil look. On the back, it continues on. You get a big picture of Deadpool. You get some smaller pictures across here. You got headpool, got weapons, alternate heads, and that rainbow effect to it. Warnings at the bottom. It says something like, good luck fitting this into your collection. On the other side, another big picture of Deadpool. On the top, Marvel logo inset into the cardboard. On the bottom, some legalese. But I'm tired of lugging this thing up and down, looking around it. I'm going to get this figure open and see how bad he's out of frame as I go through him. Okay, pulling all the accessories out, we just have the blister left. Before you go pulling on Deadpool himself, you'll notice on the back, his swords are in the sheaths on his back through the plastic. So don't go pulling on them. Make sure to pull these out first, and then he should come out. Those are almost locking him in there. And there we go, all out of the package, and I'm impressed. I'll say that. I am impressed. I wasn't expecting much out of this larger scale. I don't know why. They can pack more articulation in, they can pack more detail in. So I guess my brain is just wired to enjoy 6-inch. That's just what my preference is. But looking at the sculpt, I like it. It's not consistent over the whole body. He has some extra detail on the head, the shoes, the gloves, that doesn't quite match the rest of the body. But the chest does have the piping detail to outline between the black and the red. And then, like I said, the head, it has extra wrinkles. It has kind of a texture to it. The same for the arm bands, the leg bands, and especially the leather parts, like his bandolier, his belt, his leg holster. Those have nice little stitching details and a leather texture to them. Those really stand out against the smoothness of the body. And then as far as paint goes, again, on the body, it's just red, it's just black, there's some silver for the eyes, but again, get to the leather parts, the straps, the belts, there is a dark wash to it to kind of bring out all that detail. So again, there's a contrast between the basic body and the extras added on top of it. Now, one of my big gripes is these guns. They went above and beyond in several other areas, but when it comes to this gun and this gun, they're part of the holster. The strap doesn't come off. It's a different piece of plastic. This is hard plastic compared to this kind of softer plastic. It's two pieces, and I almost thought for half a second that there was a gun actually in there, but it's just a piece glued in. And then this brown strap coming up and over it being a separate piece. So they kind of faked me out there. I kind of thought, oh, no, okay, never mind. Because when we do get the weapons, you'll see that hey, they're kind of weird compared to what he's actually got strapped on him, but that's for a little later. My other big thing here is I feel like the base body is a little bit thin for Deadpool. Nothing against it, it works, but the head seems a little bit large for the body, and I just think of Deadpool as kind of a beefier character. Not huge. He is an acrobatic character, and this body leans that way, but lean being the operative word. It's lean. It feels twig-like. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I'm thinking of the old comics with Deadpool just thick as hell, and sometimes he's thin, but My perfect Deadpool is a little bit thicker than this. And then finally, the gear here. It's loose, it's floating over the body. I'm fine with that because it stays out of the way. It doesn't hinder any of the articulation, but it just seems to fly around. When you get him down in poses, these want to just sit above the body. But I don't know how to get around that without gluing it down. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's going to have its positives and negatives either way. And then for some reason, the belt buckle likes to float to his left. That's the neutral position right there. My OCD wants the buckle to be centered like this, but as you mess with the figure, it kind of floats over this way. So yeah, I got to kind of mess with it here and there. Now for articulation, there's a ball at the top of a hinge, but the hole, or at least the cavity in the bottom of the head, isn't sculpted big enough. There's not enough clearance to give him a huge range of movement there. So not a lot back, a little bit forward, not really any tilt, and then of course there's swivel. Got a butterfly joint in the shoulder going out to a hinge and swivel. So you have forward, you have back, nice range of movement there, and then hinges out all the way 90, swivels around. Got a bicep swivel. Got a double elbow, comes pretty much all the way up. Got a hinge and swivel at the wrist. The right one is set up and down for gun poses. The left one is side to side, and then there's swivel there. The torso is interesting. I like this setup. The top is a ball, and you get swivel there, and forward and back, and tilt. Pretty good range of movement. And then there's a hinge at the waist. Instead of there being swivel there, which the torso takes care of that, kicks forward, kicks back. So with both of them together, nice range of movement there. Hinge and swivel at the hips, come all the way forward, back about that far, out a little past 45. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee comes pretty much all the way up. Swivel, hinge at the ankle, comes back, comes forward. And then I don't want to say forward facing pin because it's not really forward. I think there's too much down angle to it and it ends up just being kind of a swivel. It doesn't really rock. Now for accessories, he comes with several sets of hands. He comes with a thumbs up hand. He comes with 2 fists. I always love the fists. He's got 2 weapon gripping hands. That's for his, well, you'll see swords, guns, that kind of thing. And then his chimichanga hand. It's kind of a more open grip. And for switching out hands, it's pretty easy. They just pop right out. Now you'll notice the wrap around the wrist does come off. You put that back on. You put the hand back in and it just pops right back in. And with this bigger gripping hand, it holds the chimichanga. And this is a nice little detail. It's got the silver foil around it. It's not quite reflective like aluminum foil, but it completely works. It's got the wrinkles in it, and it's a silver color. Then you get up to the top, and it really looks like there's meat or something inside of it. There's kind of a cheese color, kind of a blood color. I don't know what else is in there, but it looks like food. Kind of nasty food, but food. And then his weapon gripping hands are for his 2 guns. Well, including other weapons, it comes with 2 guns. And these aren't really realistic looking guns. At least not to me. I don't know if they are or not, but these look like cable guns. Some kind of futuristic weapons. He comes with 2 knives. They're 2 tiny little knives. They have some nice plastic details to the handle. Some texture to it. Some little screws. Grooves. But the cool thing about this is that each blade actually stores on the figure. He has this sheath right here on the front, and the blade goes up in there. And then around on the back, this other blade slides into this sheath. It looks like there's some prongs here to hold the knife too, but it's not really needed. It's tight enough in there that it just goes. Plus, it doesn't really snap in there or anything. So, whatever. And then finally, as far as weapons go, it comes with his 2 swords. I haven't seen this style before, but it has nice little wraps on the bottom. It's kind of a leather grip, and then the blade itself. No kind of guard, nothing like that. Pretty basic looking sword, really. And as far as those being stored on their back, you'll notice that there's a very specific shape for the sheath. And when you slide the blade down in there, there's a groove along the back, and then there's a stop right there. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of sculpted into the plastic. You slide that in there, and the grooves line up into the hole of the sheath, and then it stops right there. Stays. There's almost a lock to it. And then the other one is even tighter than that. I don't know why, but once you get to a certain point, it pops in, and that isn't just sliding out when you turn the figure upside down. Just a cool little thing there that didn't have to be done. I mean, they could have just made the sheaths longer, slipped them in, be good with it, but it's kind of an intricate engineering system there to keep the swords in. And then the last accessory for Deadpool himself is the kind of semi-unmasked head. It's more like a mask that's had half of it torn off. And underneath, it's not quite as ugly as I picture Wade under the mask. I usually picture him just scarred up, pocked up, just nasty up underneath. This looks more like a guy that has a couple scars here and there. Not really too bad. But it's a nice sculpt to it. The eye is painted on a little bit cartoony, but I am not going to complain about that because really it's a nice paint job on there. There's some weathering to the face. It has a different color washed into the skin tone. Adds a little bit more depth to it. And then the sculpting is really nice. The tears, the holes in the mask. The head pops off pretty easy. It's a big ball on top of the neck. The other head just pops right on and you're good to go. And then finally there's head pull. If I remember right, this is some kind of zombie version from another universe, Marvel Zombies universe, and he somehow crossed over and never died. But again, nice sculpt here. It looks like a decayed zombie face underneath. He still has his eyeball, again painted in kind of a cartoony style, but I think that's just the style of this figure, and it completely works. Half ripped off mask. The helmet itself, it looks like metal that's been scratched, dinged, dented. And this actually has 2 points of articulation to it. The propeller on top does spin, not freely, you gotta kind of move it around, but it's there. And then you get to the mouth, and the jaw is articulated too. And then it also comes with a flight stand, pretty basic ball joint on top of a big plastic rod with a flat part on bottom. And that pops in there. And there's another point of articulation if you want to get technical about it. It has good movement on top of that. And then if you really, really wanted to, you could pop the head off here and head pull fits on that neck ball too. It's kind of weird looking, but it fits. As far as size goes, I don't have a lot of figures in this scale to compare to, but I do have the Hot Toys Deadpool. Not really any comparison whatsoever. This is more comic book style, kind of a cartoony style to it. The Hot Toys is a realistic movie style. So putting them side by side, it doesn't really work. Well, kind of in Deadpool's head it would work, but here you're not going to be displaying them side by side. But size-wise, he does stand up to about 11 3/4 inches. So at the end of the day, I'm happy with this figure, but there is some shortcomings to it. Because of the size and the heaviness, he kind of falls under his own weight. The joints aren't loose, but it's just kind of weighty. You know what I mean? And that may be because I'm used to the lighter weight of the 6-inch figures. They don't have as much gravity strain on them, if that's even an effect or a term, but I'm making it up now. Copyright. Like I said, it's a little bit thin for my perfect vision of Deadpool, but it still completely works. There's no denying that it is Deadpool. It's got a good range of weapons, it's got a good range of accessories, it even has another character with him in the form of Headpool. Can fly around him, causing trouble, blah, blah, blah. But as is, this will be a good one-off thing for my shelf. Well, not even my shelf, my bedroom display or somewhere else in the house where I like to stick Deadpools in random places here and there. Most of the things I have gripes about on here can be fixed or glued down or adjusted after I get a pose, except for the ankles. Whenever I'm standing him, trying to get him down in a deep crouch or, some other pose like that, the ankles don't really cooperate. They don't want to go flat. He seems to like to fall over only because of that one aspect. But once you do get him into the pose, it does look pretty great. The head looks a little bit large, but again, it fits into that cartoony style. I think of this as, animated style kinda. A little hefty price tag on it at $50, but that's just the line itself. We've seen discounts with most of the rest of the figures in this line, so will Deadpool eventually be down to that price? Or is he going to hold his value like the X-Men Legends Deadpool, where you still can't really find one at retail? Deadpool is one of those anomalies in the action figure world. You put out a Deadpool, it's going to sell out. He's just one of those characters. Love him, hate him, you got to admit, it's a pretty damn popular character. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.